Hi. Alright, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook, and today we are doing my long-awaited review of The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. If you've been around on my channel for a while, you would know at the beginning of this year I read The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and something about it just changed my brain chemistry. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like reading this book has launched me into an entirely new era of reading. It kind of like has changed my taste in a way. I just don't know. There's something so simple yet addictive about Donna Tartt's writing, and it just makes me crave whatever this genre is that she writes. So obviously I knew I wanted to read The Goldfinch as soon as I finished this book, and I took my time with it. I really let myself absorb it, enjoy it. I feel like I spent about 3 weeks to a month reading this book, jumping back and forth between the physical copy and the audiobook. It is a very, very long book, as you can see. I think it's 800 pages and the writing is very small. And if you know anything about Donna Tartt, she has such a unique way of structuring her stories. She has kind of like parts to her books, I guess, and these parts are hours and hours long. I mean, it could be up to 150 pages. That is technically one chapter, and then those one, chapter is split up into multiple little parts in between. It's just an experience. And The Goldfinch, at its core, if you just want to give it the most basic sort of explanation, it follows this boy named Theodore Decker. And whenever we meet him, I think he's about like 11 or 12 years old, and he lives in Manhattan. He's grown up living in New York. He has essentially a single mother now. His parents are separated. His dad had a lot of issues with alcoholism. He was, kind of verbally abusive. He has left. He is out of the picture. He's been gone for several months now. So it's just been him and his mom. And at the start of the story, the two of them basically end up going to this museum, this art museum. And whenever he is there, he happens upon this painting that is called The Goldfinch. It is a real painting. It actually exists. And something about this painting just really draws his attention in. It's this little goldfinch that has like a shackle around its ankle, and it's like lived its entire life, I guess, shackled and didn't really get to fly, whatever. And it's just such a simple, small little painting, but something about it just speaks to him. And so he's looking at this painting. At the same time he's looking at this painting, he sees this girl out of the corner of his eye, this redhead girl, and he's just so enamored by her. He can't explain why. He's drawn to her as well. And then an explosion happens. Basically a terrorist attack happened on this museum. Theodore and his mom were separated at the time. His mom was going and looking at a different painting. So long story short, Theodore survives this terrorist attack and his mother does not. So now he is a very young boy, again, like 12 years old, and he has to live life now without his mother. And whenever he, very important part that I just missed, whenever he escapes from this museum, he's sitting there, it's covered in rubble. He doesn't even know where he is when he initially wakes up. He ends up encountering this old man that he saw with that redhead girl that he was really, drawn to. He comes across him as he's trying to leave the museum, and he, is kind of delusional at this point. He's on the verge of dying, and he, his head's been hit, whatever, and he thinks he recognizes Theodore. He tells him, I need you to go to this certain place, like, here, take this ring, go to this place, look for this man, like, he'll know what to do. And Theodore's like, what are you talking about? Takes this ring from this man, and as he's going to leave, like, he sees Theodore's very, drawn to this painting, and he tells him, like, take it with you, take the painting. And obviously he's just been through something very traumatic. He has no idea what's even going on. At this point he thinks like his mother's still alive, right? He doesn't know. So anyways, he takes this painting that was painted hundreds of years ago. It is a work of art. It is a protected work of art. It belongs in this museum, and this little preteen boy takes it. He shoves it in his bag. He escapes, goes home, is waiting for his mother to come home. She never does. So yeah, the story kind of picks up now of like, what is his life now that his mother is gone? And you see him go through so many different stages. He ends up going to that address that old man told him to go to, ends up meeting this other kind of elderly man named Hobie that he works as like a antique, he restores like antique furniture, and comes across that girl, the redhead girl, Pippa. She's connected to all this. So there's a lot going on. I know like I sound like I'm all over the place, but that's kind of what this story is. He, after his mother passes away, is staying with a friend for a while, not sure what's gonna happen to him, what his life's gonna be. Is he gonna go into foster care? You know, where is his dad? What does this mean now? And so his life is just like kind of a crazy series of events after the passing of his mother, after this horrible traumatic event that he's gone through that haunts him every night in his sleep. I mean, he just has dreams of this explosion happening, of him being stuck in it, and he just sees that old man over and over again, and he, you know, thinks about this girl Pippa, and he just, it all sort of centers around, though, like throughout all of these events that happen, this painting, because he's stolen this painting, you know, is missing. It's being looked for. A lot of art, different art, you know, was destroyed in the, you know, attack, and some of it was taken, and everyone's on the hunt for it, and he has it. It's in his possession, and he doesn't know what to do with it, but it's just like his one prized possession that he just has to keep, and he doesn't know. And it's one of those things where like you tell a lie and you dig yourself deeper and deeper in the hole, and like once you get past a point, it's like, well, I can't return it now. I mean, I've stolen it. I've kept it all this time. They're gonna wonder why it took me so long to return it. So it sounds like not that big of a deal, right? You're like, oh, just keep the painting hidden. But this entire story is really centered around it, and it's funny. Like, something about Donna Tartt is, I feel like her stories just feel like a stream of consciousness almost. You know, you're with this person and it almost feels like you're put in the shoes of the main character, and it feels like, where is this story really going? Because it's kind of just like his day-to-day life after this event happens, and you see what he's going through, and you see, you know, he kind of gets passed around of where he's staying, who he's staying with, where he's living, you know, some in New York, some across the country. You see, you know, family issues play into all of this. His father, you know, may or may not make a reappearance in this story. He makes, you know, friends, and things happen. And my point is, like, all along the way, you kind of are asking yourself, or at least I was, like, what's the point of all of this? You know, where is this going? Like, is this, do I need to pay attention to this character? Are they really important? I feel like it doesn't matter maybe. The whole time though, I am entertained, but of course I am just like, where is this going? What is the point of it? And it's just so interesting watching the whole thing play out, because by the time you get to the end, every single thing that happened does matter. Like, if you weren't paying attention and you didn't know, you know, you didn't know that all of this was important, and you just were like, oh, it doesn't matter, but like everything comes together at the end, and it does matter. And this picture of his life and where it leads to is just so fascinating. I mean, it just like touches on so many different subjects, you know, the idea of trauma, the idea of not growing up in a good family situation, the importance of having, you know, elders that you can turn to, that you can look up to, that, you know, what happens to people whenever they're going through hard times, and what it makes them do, and what's really important. And, you know, it deals with like substance abuse. Like, there's just so many themes throughout this story, and it gets really intense at the end. And I remember like kind of being in the last 50 pages or so, thinking back on the very beginning of this book, when Theodore's this tiny, you know, young child, and now he's a full-blown adult. And I'm like, I can't believe this is the same book that I started reading by the time I get to the end. I can't believe this is the same story. It just has come so far. We've seen so much of his life. He's an entirely different person, yet also the same. He still has that little child inside of him, and still as an adult is still dealing with a lot of the issues he was dealing with as a child. And I loved it. Halfway through, I was like, I'm not sure where this is going. It's not like I didn't like it, I was enjoying it, but it's just like, you know, I don't know if this is hitting me the way The Secret History did, which The Secret History is still my favorite. I do want to go back and reread that book so bad. I think about it almost every day, because that's another book where I still just don't even know what happened, what was the point of all this. It kind of feels like one big fever dream in a way, or like, what am I reading? I just can't even understand how Donna Tartt plans her books. In some way, I'm like, do you not plan them? Like, do you just start writing and you don't even know where it's going to end up? Because this book is just so long, and there's so many scenes and things that happen, and characters, and just, I'm like, do you outline this book? Do you really sit there and know what's going to happen? Or is this just something that comes from you and doesn't exist one day and then does? And that's another thing about her too. She's only released, I think, 3 novels total, and each of them, it's like several years apart. So it's like she spends years writing her books, like upwards of like 5-6 years, maybe even more. And I mean, it really shows. Her books are masterpieces, and this book was no different. Really, like the final kind of chapter, almost epilogue even, there's a few quotes that, you know, it's funny, I'm sitting here like, what was the point of this entire book? But at the end, you get some kind of quotes, internal monologue thoughts from Theodore, and it really tells you what the point of the whole thing was. It really sums it all up. And I just sat there. I remember I was listening to the audio at that point, and I like went back and I replayed that chapter because I was just like, wow. I mean, Donna Tartt has a way of putting things that you've always thought into words. And when authors can do that, you know, find a way to phrase something that I've always kind of felt within me, but I just didn't know how to say it, that is going to be just an author that I'm going to read every single book that they have written. So love the book. I do just want to mention this book has been made into a movie. It is on Amazon Prime. It stars Ansel Elgort, and he was perfect to play this part. The casting is just incredible. There are so many massive actors in that. I mean, Luke Wilson is in it, Sarah Paulson, Nicole Kidman is a very big character in it. Finn Wolfhard is a character that's very important to the story, which that made me really excited to watch it. But yeah, it's just a great casting, and they do such a good job in the movie. It's structured a little bit differently than the story is within the book, but still watching it back, I just thought it was just so good, and it made me love the book even more, seeing it come to life. So definitely recommend reading this book. I think it's not gonna be, I know, it's not gonna be for everyone. I think Donna Tartt in general is going to be someone that you really love, you connect to, or you're just maybe not gonna get it, and that is totally fine. But big fan. It was well worth the very long time it took me to read this. And at this point now, I wanna go back and I wanna reread The Secret History. I wanna annotate it, I wanna tab it, and then I feel like eventually I will come back and read this book. She has one other book that I need to read. It's called The Little Friend or My Little Friend, something like that. But I kind of want to take my time. I don't want to jump right into it. I let myself have a few months in between these two books. So I just want to like leave that one on the back burner, and I'm sure I'll read it within a few months or so. But yeah, guys, that is my very chaotic review of The Goldfinch. I don't want to give spoilers away in this because I do want people to go and read it, but I will just say everything that it led up to at the end, I was just did not see it going that way. And when the big plot twist of it all kind of happens and you learn what you learn, that the thing is revealed, the thing of the whole story, I was shocked. My jaw was on the floor, and it was just so suspenseful. It went from a story that was just like, okay, I'm going through the motions, like, where is this going? It's very, you know, it's a very sort of like, not simple story, but you know, I'm going with the flow. And then now by the end of the story, I'm like on the edge of my seat. It is suspenseful. It is nearly a thriller at this point. I don't even know. It was just so interesting. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you read The Goldfinch, I would love to hear all your thoughts down below. Any other thoughts you have on Donna Tartt. She is amazing. I'm obsessed with her. Anyways, I'll talk to you very soon.